Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Event Crowd Success Stories podcast. I'm joined today by another one of our fantastic alumni, Will. Will, how are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, mate, no, really good. Thank you again for coming on. Really excited to have this discussion with you today. So, for our listeners, Will, could you tell me a little bit about yourself and about your background?
Well, yeah, sure. I really appreciate the your time and allowing me to jump on to discuss this with you. So, hi everyone, my name's Will. I have an extensive background in events and hospitality. So I've got roughly about 10 years experience working in the trade. So I started back when I was part-time studying, working in a hotel as a mixologist and just kind of grew from there really. Extensive love for just making customers feel good about themselves and seeing like the overall product that I deliver come together is something that really gives me a lot of joy and satisfaction. So leading from there, I've got quite a lot of managerial experience as well. So I worked at places like Rick Stein's Hotel de Van, which led me to kind of start up my own sort of a cocktail mixology business just on the side, which is where I met a couple of guys who run a events and a festival bar company. They said, come work for us full time. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me, really. So I worked with them for a year. Absolutely best time of my life. I was going away on festivals. I was going to massive wedding venues, like helping set up the events side of things, like designing cocktail menus, helping with the staffing, everything to sorting out the warehouse. And then kind of for myself, I think the hours just got a bit too much for me, which is where I wanted to branch off into kind of like a more sales based role within the industry. Unfortunately, nobody was kind of giving me a look in because I didn't have that sales experience, which is why I'm currently in recruitment at the moment. So I'm full-time in recruitment and I'm a part-time events bar manager for the company that I used to work for. So I still have quite a lot of experience within the trade, but mostly kind of like weekends, like ad hoc as of when, like birthday parties, hen parties. I manage a wedding venue over in Dorchester, Came House. So I do the in-house bar team for that there, which is really exciting. Brings me a lot of joy and satisfaction seeing all the brides and groom like really happy with the service that we provide. And that's really for me why I kind of find it very rewarding, a really rewarding and such a great industry to work in.
Wow, so you're doing quite a lot of things there. That must be quite intense, I'm guessing, if you're kind of working full time in recruitment and then still working for the bar company and then also managing that bar as well. That must be quite intense.
It can get intense sometimes, but I
Hmm.
think for me, recruitment is, it has been my focus for the past sort of like year and a half because
Hmm.
I decided to come out of the trade and kind of take a step back because it it was the hours that were really kind of
Yeah.
affecting my not only my social life, but my relationship and the relationship with my friends and stuff. What you've got to understand is that the industry is very rewarding. However, it can take up quite a lot of your life. It is not a Monday to Friday role. You can't just drop it and leave it at a hat. If
Mm.
something goes wrong on site, then you need to be adaptable. You need to be there. You need to, take the situation, like jump in
Yeah.
and dive into that situation and, just grab it with both hands and it has to be dealt with.
Mm.
Which is why I kind of took the job in recruitment. Really enjoy my job. I really love it. And I still have, my fingers and pies, like
Yeah.
working, like my evenings and stuff, like weekends. It does take up quite a lot of my time, but as I said, it's just that passion that I get from
Yeah.
the industry, that like job satisfaction. Seeing the end result, something that I've designed and put together, like a cocktail menu or helped design a party and, delivered outstanding service and, getting a tip at the end of the birthday party or wedding. And it's just that satisfaction and joy that I get from seeing customers just having a really good time.
Yeah. No, completely understand that. Like, it's something that a lot of people say is, and we literally mentioned it on the previous podcast, and I'm sure we'll mention it on every single one because it is the main draw to the events industry is being able to create experiences for people is literally just the best feeling. And it's just interesting to hear you say that, because it is just so true, and it's something that absolutely everyone says. So really good to hear you say that. But it's interesting to sort of hear about some of your stuff there about being on site. I guess that year you had,
Mhm.
I know you said you went to a few festivals and weddings with your two friends, combining that kind of business over that year. How many events did you do in that year?
Oh, off the top of my head, oof, I couldn't give you an exact number. I would say over 40.
Wow.
So I can't give out too much information just for confidential reasons about the
Sure. Yeah.
company,
Okay.
um, because it's not my place to say really. But
Sure.
it's a massive leading company within the events industry, and they've grown it up from something you know just by rocking up at someone's house, like shaking a few cocktails, and now they have a fully fledged operational mobile bar business.
Wow.
I can give you a couple of examples of the festivals that they do. So like Lake Fest,
Okay.
which is up in Gloucestershire. That's about 10 to 12,000 people.
Hmm.
So they operate a cocktail bar up there. They also operate three wedding venues. So they're the in-house bar team for that.
Wow.
Um, and their operation is just massive. So that I'd say predominantly most of the season is the summertime.
Yeah.
So winter time was kind of a lot of like planning, sorting out the warehouse, making sure that all the equipment is clean and ready to go for the next season.
Hmm.
And then obviously around Christmas time, we take the downtime. So you know, it swings around and roundabouts, you know, like obviously summertime,
Absolutely.
most of the people are out and about and you know, the weather's good, you want to go to the pub with your mates, but in
Mm.
events, it is a 24-hour operation.
Yeah.
Like as I said, a lot of traveling was involved, a lot of like staying on site, a lot of like health and safety paperwork, talking to licensees, the council, setting up,
Yeah.
and then it was pretty much after the event had, you know, was done or completed, it was a case of everything packs down, goes back onto the HGV, you go back to the warehouse or wherever you're based, and then you're on to the next one pretty much. So it was literally like back to back, as well as
Yeah.
sorting out staff for like the wedding venues and stuff. So it can be very stressful, but I would say well over 40. I
Wow.
think the year just after COVID happened, when everything opened up, we had such a backlog from like weddings and stuff. And I
Hmm.
think it had we saw like a massive profit drive in profits that year, because I think everybody was just so locked in, so sick of being at home and stuff, that everybody
Yeah.
just wanted to get out and socialize.
Yeah.
So realistically, I think this year we're kind of starting to see a massive rise again as well. Just everybody wants to enjoy themselves and go to the festivals, and you know it is really good to see. It's such a big forefront of the business within
Yeah.
the UK as well. Like brings so much money to the economy as well in the UK. So
Yeah. No, it does. You're
for
completely
sure.
right. Yeah, no, you're completely right, and I totally agree. But no, mate, thank you for giving that bit of a background. It's just really interesting to hear your thoughts on not just what you've done, but also the industry, and how challenging it can really be, especially for small businesses and suppliers in the current kind of, in the way the industry is at the moment. Like the events industry is in a slightly tough position at the moment. But it is good to see that things are bouncing back. So thank you. I do appreciate you giving that overview. So to move on to kind of where you are now, what was it that kind of drove you towards Event Crowd? How did you find us, and what kind of drew you to us?
Yeah, sure. So that's quite a good question. I didn't really know about the event crowd through sort of like lockdown and stuff. So I did quite a lot of traveling. Unfortunately, I had to come home because of the whole lockdown scenario. I found myself just to obviously, you know, the event space and hospitality was closed down. Couldn't really do anything. So I was kind of like pondering. Really enjoyed events, loved hospitality. But I think for me, it was more the event side of things that I really enjoyed, like the planning, the
Mm,
organization, which is one of my strong points. But the type of events roles that I was applying for, I wasn't really getting a looking, or I was getting an interview, and they said that you don't really have that much experience. You're more customer face experience working in the hospitality industry, like restaurants and bars. So that's where I really lacked that side of things. So I kind of started to look at like uni courses, like event management courses. and kind of just like weighed up my options. I was actually in the process of applying for university, like going back. I was looking at like online courses,
Hmm.
and I don't know where. I think I stumbled across it on like Instagram, from one of the pages that I followed. And I clicked on it and I just saw that you guys were designing this course. So I thought, I'll wait. So I waited and then I saw the course. And I just knew instantly that it was a no-brainer, really, because university takes like 3 years. I could bash this course out in like 4 months,
Mm.
hand in all my coursework, and then get, like a recognized qualification in the trade. And the good thing is, for me, that's something that really resonated with me, is that the events course itself is, all the tutors are actually like leading experts in the field.
Hmm.
So they give you like a little bit of the backstory of like, what went wrong on their events, like what went well. And that really like kind of resonated with me. So it was kind of good to hear, that not everything is like sunshine and daisies, but I just instantly knew that this was going to be for me. It works around me, works around my full-time current job. I can do an hour a day, just bash it out, and I managed to complete it within 5 months. So yeah, absolutely buzzing, and so grateful that you guys designed something like this, because I don't think there's anything like it on the market, to be honest. So it's yeah, good. I loved every minute of it.
Thank you, Will. No, those are really, really kind words. And thank you for waiting as well. I know you mentioned there that you originally found us during the pandemic. I think quite a few
Hmm.
people heard about what we were trying to do, but I mean, in the end, it took us about 2 years just to build the course. So thank you for waiting patiently. And honestly, a massive congratulations to you for completing the course and some really nice
No,
words there. Thank you much. That's
yeah, no,
really, really
I
kind.
think it was just great marketing that you guys used. Like,
Mm,
just kept me in the loophole. Like, I was just like, oh, I wonder what it's going to be. I like
mm,
massive curiosity from it, really. And then obviously when I did my research and stuff, it was just
mm,
it was a no-brainer, and it
mm,
has helped me out massively. Like just off the
yeah.
back end of that.
No, that's good to hear. I was actually going to ask next then, um, what did you want to get out of the course when you took it? I know you mentioned you wanted that qualification and you were thinking you wanted to hear back from employers with by having a qualification behind you, but now that you've completed the course, what do you believe are the best things that you've managed to gain from it?
Yeah. Okay. So, firstly, for me, there's loads of event courses online. However, what I struggled with is, if I'm giving someone my money, I want a recognized qualification that is going to get me that next step forward. And, employers are going to recognize. And that's something which was really, really hard to come across, which is why I was looking down that university route. But 3 years is a long time. I'm a type of guy that wants it now, like I'm willing to put in the work, and I want to progress within the industry really quickly. So I think for me it was just um like you know just coming on board. With my old job with the operational side of things, it was more planning in terms of like staffing, making sure everything was on the trucks, like when we got to site as well, making sure that everything was in place, like the bars were erected up, the dance floor was clean, tidy, training the staff on the cocktail menus, making sure that the service was tip toppy boo, everything was in tip top, designing the rosters. So for me, I think what I lacked in was the health and safety side of things, all the paperwork, the marketing side of things as well. So just off the back of the event crowd, like learning about marketing, like everything from designing your Instagram page, like shooting the videos, the ticket sales. And for me, the massive thing was the health and safety. I learned
Mm,
absolutely loads about, you wouldn't even believe like how much paperwork is involved like nowadays and stuff.
yeah.
Um, I had a little bit of experience like with licensing, like TENS
Hmm.
licensing and stuff like that. Um, so just learning more about the back end of it, rather than the front end of the events, more of like the office based stuff.
Mm,
Um, and I've, yeah, absolutely cracked it, I think, really. So it's just being an all round sort of person, like
yeah.
able to adapt within the event space, not just focusing on one thing like marketing or like operations. I think that's really key within the industry, really, just being really adaptive in your events working role.
No, mate, I totally agree. And it's interesting to hear you kind of talk about the front end side and the back end side of the industry because a few of our lecturers have mentioned previously that the best kind of grounding you can give yourself in the events industry without being in the events industry is hospitality. And it kind of gives you that customer facing, dealing with the public, fixing problems, and doing some quite labor intensive hard work from a hospitality point of view. So then when you have that
Yeah.
grounding in the front customer facing side, to then learn the back end side of the planning, health and safety, and absolutely everything that goes into the planning. If you combine those two together, I think you get a really, really good all-rounded events professional.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think events is kind of like delayed gratification.
Mm,
When you're planning a festival, you are not planning it like a week before. You are planning it like a year in advance. So you've got to think about things like venues, location, license. You've got to deal with the council, local authorities. You've got to deal with like contractors, and that's something that I don't have experience with because someone above me had that experience. I
okay.
was not told what to do, but this is the date that we've got. I need you to, make plans for the week before, make sure that the staff know what they're doing, make sure that they're operating in a safe manner, they know where the staff toilets are. So, it is just such an all-round giving industry. As I said
Mm,
before, you need to be highly adaptable in, if you want to be an amazing event manager, you need to be like really, really highly adaptable within your role. Because one day you could be fixing like toilets, you could be, like speaking to like licensing stakeholders, like running marketing ads. So it is really, really interesting and such a rewarding industry to work in. So 100% would recommend it.
brilliant. No, that's fantastic to hear. Well, my next question would be, what's next for you after now that you've completed our course?
Yeah, so that is a really good question. So obviously working full time in recruitment now, I kind of took a step back from my previous role. I think my next sort of step or career step for me would be working within the event space, but dealing with like staffing. So
Okay,
looking at setting up like an events recruitment agency
cool.
because I feel like there's quite a lack of, like really highly qualified people within the industry. And I found sort of like the back end of COVID and like Brexit, I don't know if you found this, just trying to find some good competence like hospitality staff as well.
Okay,
So I think that would be the next step for me in terms of like what I would like to do with my full-time job.
yeah,
But as well as my part-time job, it brings me like great satisfaction knowing that I've got that knowledge and extensive background, obviously conducting the events crowd course. I'm able to adapt within my roles when I go work on festivals. And I can put my hand up. I've got my personal license now. I can, put my name forward for more sort of qualifications further down the line. And just having that course that I've completed, the event crowd, it makes me stand out, I think. Because conducting like an events management course over 3 years, if you can do it in the space of 5 months, it's like a no-brainer. And
yeah,
I think it shows that you're really committed and you're hardworking if you can do it in a short amount of time.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I would like to see myself, maybe opening up, well, like a hospitality recruitment desk or an
cool.
events and hospitality recruitment desk within the
Yeah,
company that I'm working at now.
yeah,
So that would be my next step.
brilliant. No, that sounds brilliant, and I love that. I think that's a fantastic idea, and I think yeah, we have kind of seen that ourselves. I mean, to be honest, it's kind of the whole reason we exist because so many people left the events industry during the pandemic. So our
Mm,
kind of whole mission really is to kind of help fill the skills gap that got left behind by that pandemic. So I think it's a really, really nice goal to have, definitely, if you wanted to set up a kind of recruitment agency or within your own company that you work for, etc. For the events industry. I think it's a really, really good goal to have. There are some really good staffing companies out there already, but the events industry always needs more. We need to be providing younger people with who want to do events, as many routes into the industry as they can get, and we need to be opening doors for them as an industry, and providing them and presenting them with opportunities to get in, and as well as that, we need to help funnel people into the events industry who don't realize that it's a career path for them. There may be young
Mhm.
people who work in hospitality who don't kind of realize that they actually have a lot of the skills that would make them a really good event manager if they just had access to
Mm.
a way to get some more experience, or a course like ours where they could use that grounding that you've got, similar to the way that you have, where you have that front end hospitality facing experience, and you can really use that, and take those transferable skills, to become a really good event manager. So no, look, really interesting to hear. Well, look, Will, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on, and it's been really good to chat about you, your background, and just what you got out of the course and where you want to go next. So yeah, from myself and the entire Event Crowd team, thank you very much, and a massive congratulations to you.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. If anybody needs any help or whatever, just I'll pop my contact details down below if you want to go for a coffee or talk. Let me know, and I'm happy to give people some advice and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant, Will. Yeah. Do you want to, where can people find you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn, Will Vaughan, Vaughan, or Instagram, Will Vaughan 95. So just give us a follow, or if this video is being posted out on socials, I've just put my details down below and just
Sure.
tag us up. And yeah, but I just want to say massive thank you for everything that you guys have helped me with, and you've been absolutely supportive, like the student hubs and stuff like that. And it's been absolutely great. I've really, really enjoyed it. So I really appreciate it, bud.
Brilliant. Thank you, Will. Thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, mate.